Welcome to r/entitled people, where we share stories from your lives about people who think the rules don't apply to them, and they should get what they want. Thank you friends for subscribing to the channel, and for so many likes. And today we have two great stories, so subscribe, hit the like button, and let's begin. The first story. The police were called for noisy guests, but the mother of the family was arrested for assaulting a cop, and the whole situation happened on Mother's Day. The second story. I want to talk to your owner. Oh, so I am the owner. Speak up. The first story is the mother that was evicted and arrested on Mother's Day. This is possibly one of the more wild stories I have from my nearing a decade in the hotel industry. Character key: DA, drunk a-hole, father of the family. TBA, to be arrested, mother of the family. CG, complaint guests, neighboring room of the family in question. PS, police supervisor. FPO, female police officer. Clarification: DA and TBA are both retirees in their 60s. Their daughters were adults and older than I am. I'm in my mid-20s. Hope that adds some context to the situation. I recently opened a 5-star hotel in the heart of the city I live in. It's in an extremely busy area right on the river, and we have pretty unbeatable views. The hotel also offers a number of features that seem to have made us the new city darling, including a rooftop bar with sweeping views of the city skyline and river. Cue Mother's Day this year, which fell on a Sunday. To be honest, we weren't fully prepared for how busy we were. I remember I had to call in an additional porter just to deal with the volume of cars we needed to valet. The rooftop bar was also going crazy, as it is possible for members of the public to visit as long as we are not at full capacity in the bar area. I spent a lot of my night just doing crowd control in the lobby, while my FDAs assisted arriving guests. At around 7 p.m. I had a call from one of our premium suites that is on the same level as the bar. They reported the room next door is having a party and keep screaming profanities at them over the balcony wall. Obviously this is not acceptable, so I go to call the room to have a word with them. No answer. I notify security that I may need assistance and to please stand by on the radio while I go up to speak with them. I have to bang loudly on their door for a couple of minutes before a drunken man finally answers. DA: oh finally, room service. Took you long enough. Me: oh sorry sir, I'm not actually here about that. I needed to speak with the occupant of the room regarding a noise complaint. DA: oh we're not interested. F off. Slams door. I'm a little dumbstruck by this. I bang on the door again just for DA to open the door again to say F off before slamming it again. I am immediately furious. I ride a storm cloud back downstairs, and turns out DA had already called one of my FDAs to complain about me. She hands the phone to me straight away when she sees the look on my face. He's still blabbering something when I take the phone, so I cut him off. Me: your behavior is unacceptable. I'm enforcing our house party policy, and all non-registered guests are now required to leave, and you must turn down the music playing in your room. Any non-registered guests in your room will be escorted off the property in 20 minutes. DA now yelling: who the F do you think you are? It's Mother's Day. We're just trying to have a good time and you're up here in my face being an a-hole. Me: I'm the manager on duty this evening. There's no negotiating this policy. If you're unable to cooperate, then I will have the entire room evicted. DA: effing try it. Hangs up. As usual, after confrontation with a guest, I am seething by the time I put the phone down. I get another call from the neighboring room that made the noise complaint, and now they're going off at me complaining that I failed to deal with the situation. I assure them that I am taking immediate action, and the guest will be evicted if the behavior continues. I offer them a room move in the meantime, which they reject, saying why should we move? We're in our dressing gowns trying to have a glass of wine. I assure them that I will take care of the situation, and to please call me if they require further assistance. I go back up to their floor to check and see if noise levels have changed. As soon as I step out of the elevator, DA is standing right outside, seemingly waiting for me. I step out and walk partway down the hallway, because I thought maybe he wanted to get in to go down to park or something. DA: you think you're tough, don't you? I'm a lot bigger than you. Better watch what you say. Me: excuse me? Are you genuinely making threats? I think it's time you packed your bags. I'm now enforcing a full eviction. DA: I told you to effing try it. We'll have your job. We'll see you in court. Me: that's not how this works. I advise you pack your bags now so police don't have to do it for you when they get here. DA: F me. We're not discussing this here. Go back to your room and pack your bags. I walk further down the hall to the service elevator in order to leave the floor. I didn't want to get back into a lift with this guy. As I'm walking down, the other complaint room opens their door. They will be referred to as CG, complaint guests. CG, what are you doing? This is so unprofessional. Do they know that it's us that complained? We don't feel comfortable here now. Me, they've not been informed of who complained, but I can confirm I am enforcing a full eviction. If you would like to take me up on my offer of a room move, I'm happy to go and get new keys for you. CG, we already said we don't want to move. What don't you understand about that? Me, then may I ask you to stay in your room while I deal with this situation, and I'll let you know once it's fully resolved. CG, this is ridiculous. Slams door. I sighed the most beleaguered sigh and continued on my way. Once back down at the desk, I notify security of the situation, but not to contact the room, as I'm going to ask for police assistance to make the eviction. They had at least 6 people in the room drunk, so I don't think an MOD and a security guard will be enough to get them out of the building if they're already refusing to leave. I call the police, explain we have a party room that refuses to abide by our policies, and need assistance to evict. They ask how many people, level of intoxication, and said they will send a couple of cars to assist. They also mention there may be a delay, as it is extremely busy tonight. Go figure. While waiting for police, CG calls down multiple times, screeching about the situation. The police being on their way was not good enough. A room move was not good enough. I asked what would be good enough. They don't know. Great. More time goes on and I get more nervous. The party room is still partying. The complaint room is still simmering. I go out to the driveway to check if police are driving down, but no joy. About 40 minutes after I called police, CG comes down with their bags packed. CG, we're leaving. This is the worst experience we've ever had. You are so unprofessional, etc., etc. Me, I'm so sorry about this, sir. I'm doing everything I can to have the situation resolved, but the police have advised there will be a delay, as this does not constitute an emergency. Is there anything I can do to make you stay? I can still offer a room move, and I will even process a discount for you. CG, absolutely not. We're going to stay elsewhere. You've ruined our night. Me, I understand. I will ensure you're not charged for your time with us tonight. They leave us in a huff, and I'm feeling pretty SH that I couldn't do anything to satisfy them. Another half hour goes by and the first police car arrives. I go out and speak with them, explain the situation, and that a room has departed because of this party room. The officers were sympathetic, agreed that there wasn't much more that I could do. We chat for a bit more while we wait for the second car to arrive. The first officers weren't comfortable going up with only 2 of them, when there are still at least 6 people in that room. The second and also a third car arrive, so 6 officers and myself make our way up to the party room. Feeling bolstered, I hammer on that door like never before, and holler with a hint of a smile. Manager on duty, I'm entering the room with the police, and open the door. I was surprised as a couple of people had actually left. The party hadn't died down though. There were still 4 people in the room drinking and playing loud music. Police asked them to identify themselves. DA and TBA identify themselves, and the other 2 as their daughters. DA starts going off, saying how they're innocently celebrating Mother's Day with their family, and I am a crazy man on a power trip. The PS, police supervisor, in one of the most commanding voices I've ever heard, explains that they're not interested in hearing their BS. He actually used those words, and they are there at the request of management to assist with an eviction. Me, you were warned over an hour ago to abide by our policy or be evicted. You have sworn at me, slammed the door in my face, threatened me and my job. I will not be tolerating your presence in our property tonight. TBA, who hadn't said anything until this point, starts scoffing. TBA, what kind of place do you run here? A Nigerian prison camp? Are we being arrested? What a horrible place to stay. The whole family pipes up saying what a disaster this hotel is, and clearly not worth the money. The officers and I collectively roll our eyes. PS, you've been told to pack your bags. You better hurry up. TBA, don't you have better things to do? PS, yes, we do. So if you can hurry along, we can get back to more important things. It was hard not to laugh at her. I kept my composure. They start bumbling around the room, slowly packing their things while mumbling idiotic things to each other. TBA, for whatever reason, decides to repeatedly push her suitcase into one of the female police officers. FPO. FPO, push that bag into me again and I will put you in cuffs for assault. You're already on thin ice. Do you want to spend the rest of the night with us or with your family? TBA doesn't respond, just glares at FPO as if we're taking her seriously. PS starts hurrying them up again, and the family starts shuffling down the hallway to the door to the room, with TBA in the lead. She stops at the door and refuses to let anybody past, just keeps glaring at FPO. FPO, move now. She finally steps out of the room, but as I was still inside the room, I didn't actually see what happened. All I hear is a great commotion, some squeals of pain, and by the time I'm out of the room, TBA is pinned up against the wall being put in handcuffs. FPO, I effing warned you. Congratulations, you're now under arrest for assault. DA and his 2 daughters were still in the room, so didn't see what happened. DA, honey, what's happening? Honey! DA steps out of the room, but TBA is already being put in the elevator and taken downstairs. Suddenly his tail is between his legs. He's scurrying around collecting their belongings and is suddenly apologizing. I guess reality finally found him. His daughters, though, are now screeching about their mother and demand her to be let go. P.S. Keep your voices down. You're not guests here. If you can't behave, then you'll be heading to the same place as your mother. All 3 of them shut up and get in the elevators with police to head downstairs. I do a sweep of the room to check, and items left behind. I head back downstairs, and one of my FDAs, bless her heart, had already organized for DA's car to be brought up to the roadside as they're no longer guests. I hand the keys to the guest, to which PS pipes up again. PS, you're clearly drunk. If you put those keys in your ignition, you'll be arrested too. I love this man. TBA has been put in the back of one of the police cars and is being driven off, screeching from the back seat. Her daughters screech back. I guess this is how they communicate. I basically dump their belongings on the roadside and tell them they can pack their own belongings back into the car. They ask if I can order them a taxi. I tell them no, head back inside and lock the front doors. One of the daughters periodically comes over to bang on the door to the lobby, but I simply shake my head in response and continue with my work. TBA eventually arrives back in a taxi. I guess she posted bail or something? I'm not really sure how it works. She then bangs on the door as well. I activate the intercom and tell them if they don't leave the property immediately, I will simply call the police again. I assume they called some relatives in the area because 2 cars arrived to pick the family up, the drivers of which are honking their horns and yelling God knows what at me. I just ignore it. They only take a minute or 2 to pack up and leave, not before blasting their horns on the way out of our driveway. The next day, our general manager has a lengthy email from DA complaining about me, claiming I escalated the situation myself and actually directed police to arrest his wife. He calls me to speak with him, but after we go over my notes in the duty log and check the security footage, he agrees that they got themselves arrested and I was not at fault. He responds telling them he's been blacklisted from the hotel and not to contact us again. They posted a 1-star review about it, which was pretty disheartening considering we're such a new hotel, and requesting to have it taken down has been fruitless. Oh well, I got a story out of it. Silver linings. This industry is going to drive me to an early grave. The second story is, I am the owner. I run a small comic book shop. I usually work behind the customer service counter, so if the cashiers have any problem customers, they can just send them to me. And about once every few weeks, I get a parent who thinks it's perfectly acceptable to buy an 8-year-old a sexually explicit comic book or graphic novel. When I explain that the shop's policy is not to sell sexual content to minors, they ask to speak to my manager or boss. I love it when they ask because I like to see their face when I tell them I own it. Today was no different from previous days. A mother came to me who wanted to buy a Starfire comic for her, 12-year-old son. Normally I would have had no problem selling such a comic book, until I saw the cover. Excessive breast cleavage sticking out of her clothes. I told her it was shop policy. I couldn't sell it to her. She got upset, demanding that I sell her the comic book. We chatted back and forth. She asked to speak to my manager. I told her, how about I let you talk to the shop owner? And she seemed thrilled about it. And I, like a smart A, just stood there. She asks, well? And I said to her, oh, I own the shop. And again, I won't sell you this comic because your son isn't 18 years old. And she left my shop in disgust. I hope you enjoyed the video. Subscribe, hit the like button, and have a wonderful day.